go. Okay, excellent. So we're hitting the quarter past, so let's actually get started. We're just moving some presentations. We have three computers on the table, so quite a few cables there. But let's actually get started today. So welcome to this Kickstart Your Development with SharePoint Developer Community Open Source Projects and Assets session. So this is really around explaining what's available for you to take advantage in your day-to-day work on our open source assets, reusable solutions, reusable components, and also the guidance, what is available for you to understand how to do SharePoint online and cloud development in general. Now, we have three people actually presenting today. I'll be the kind of a main guy talking, but let's actually start with the guys from an introduction perspective. So, Ilya, you're first.
So, welcome all. I'm Elio Stra from Belgium, and I'm working as an architect for Valo Intranet.
Welcome everybody as well. I'm Paolo Orsi from Italy. I work in a company of my own, which is based in the US and in Italy, and I'm a senior consultant focused on SharePoint stuff.
Cool. And my name is Vesa Jumanen. I'm a recovering consultant. It's been 4 years since I moved to SharePoint engineering. So I'm a senior program manager. I'm responsible of the open source, guidance, documentation, everything related on SharePoint development. So that's basically my role. And as part of that, I run the virtual team called SharePoint PnP, which is providing a lot of these reusable assets as well. Now, we'll do it in a way that guys will go step back from the stage for a while. They'll come back to do some demos. I'll talk about the intro and do a few demos as well. But let's actually get going.
We will be quiet.
Cool. So there's always new people in a room not necessarily knowing what is a SharePoint PnP and what is a SharePoint patterns and practices. How many of you know what is a SharePoint PnP? Quite a few people, but there's always people who are like, what is this? I haven't had a chance to follow up what is a SharePoint PnP and what is it all about. But SharePoint PnP, this is actually our marketing team wants us to use the SharePoint PnP name, SharePoint Patterns and Practices name. It's basically our SharePoint developer community and guidance and documentation work. What we do as a SharePoint engineering together with our MVPs and open source people. So it's end-to-end our documentation, videos, guidance, samples, solution, reusable stuff for you to take advantage. So basically, our SharePoint PnP team, which is a virtual team, owns every guidance and documentation related on SharePoint development, which is kind of cool that we work together with community as an open source solution to make sure that everything is up to date. Really, the thinking point around the SharePoint PnP is the fact that why would you waste your time reinventing the wheel? Because most likely somebody else has already thought about the problem what you're having. Wouldn't it be super cool if you have a requirement, let's say, to modify user profile or use user profile in your web parts or implement some really cool web part using React or Angular? There would be a starting point, which you can pull down, modify slightly, and you're good to go to start actually your development. And that's where it actually all is coming from. Provide reusable open source components and solution, which are built together as an open source solution with open source people, as in community people, and also the engineering. So everything what we do and everything what we publish from a SharePoint PnP perspective, from a GitHub or documentation and everything else, is absolutely plussed and reviewed by the SharePoint engineering as well. So we are all the time in sync on what we actually do. And try to keep updating everything up to date. We know that there's some challenges, obviously, keeping everything up to date because SharePoint Online moves so fast that it's really hard to keep up to date on the samples, but that's fine. At least there's samples which are available. Now, for those who do not know this longer story, there's a quick slide which is kind of an explaining where we started. I'm not going to go through every single year. It's been now 5 or 6 years, basically, how long the SharePoint PnP has existed. This was actually a grassroots effort. Started as a Microsoft internal effort for sharing. Because, and it started as two guys started figuring out and thinking that, well, this sounds silly. Why do we always start from scratch? Even though we work in a company size of Microsoft, this is just silly. Why can't we actually share components and samples and solution all around the world internally and then start growing community from there? Started as an internal quite fast. We realized that there's an external demand on it quite fast. After that, marketing got involved. And sooner or later, we basically got to own everything related on SharePoint Dev. And now we're kind of realigning this more to provide reusable solutions or blueprint solutions, so to say, for customers and partners to take advantage. Right now, we have more than 450 samples for you to take advantage in a GitHub. That's a massive number. There's more than 840 contributors in our open source work in a GitHub. That's insane. That doesn't include all of the, let's say, documentation adjustments. That basically samples and contributions on the components and all of that. There's more than 1.9 million watch times minutes in YouTube within the past 365 days. If you're not aware of our YouTube channel, you probably want to check it out, because apparently people like that. Even though many of those YouTube videos, I do apologize, are in Finnish, but apparently Finnish to English is relatively understandable. I'm Finnish, so not finished, I'm no, never mind. But it's understandable, and there's a lot of other MVPs who participate on that, those videos as well. So we record all of our community calls. We have community calls actually weekly. Our next community call is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Our local time here, which we then stream live to everybody who's attending on internet, and the recording is again live on Friday and in our YouTube channel. Now, on some other numbers, we have more than 52,000 unique visitors during past 2 weeks in a GitHub. That's an insane number. So clearly people are finding the GitHub and samples quite valuable. And there's more than 50,000 tenants which are using open source components. So if you're like, well, this open source, I don't know if I can use that, is it like, how many customers are actually using that? More than 50,000 tenants have run open source components in their environment. And this is the new Microsoft. If you wandered around on the expos and if you've been on those sessions, you realize that Microsoft is heading more and more to the open source, because we want to embrace the fact that we build together with you, rather than the people in Redmond or in Microsoft making decisions on behalf of you, and then you come back and say, well, that's not how real world actually works. Let's work together. You tell us what you need, and we'll help you to be successful within your work. That's basically the idea of the new Microsoft. First of all, for all of these contributions, for all of the stuff, what you have done, I want to say thank you. We want to say thank you for actually making the whole thing possible, because it's all of you who are contributing back on what we actually started, are making the whole thing possible. So thank you, everybody, for that. Cool. So let's actually get ongoing on the PnP stuff and in general. And I thought about last year, we had pretty much the same session, slightly different title. And I really wanted to think about how do I change the structure of the session. And then I realized that I can't, because actually the session structure is pretty solid. So if you were here and you've seen the session last year, we have completely different demos and material and everything else, but the structure is the same. Because the PnP stance, or PnP thinking, is that we have 3 main pillars. And 3 main pillars are learn, reuse, and share. And it all starts from the fact that you need to learn to understand what's available, what's possible, what are the tools, and how do I do SharePoint development, or what's available in the modern SharePoint. What is a SharePoint framework? I've never heard about that. What is it? So we provide guidance, we provide hands-on labs, tutorials, and all of you for you to take advantage. Then when you learn the basics, you probably want to start thinking that, okay, how can I be more productive? And that's where the reuse actually comes in. That's where you actually are able to start thinking around that, okay, so you might think that somebody else has solved this problem already. Is there a sample which I could actually reuse? Is there a component or control which I could reuse rather than re-implementing that by myself? That's where the reuse part actually comes along. And there's a lot of projects on that section as well. And then the final piece, when you started actually using the tooling based on, let's say, your persona, some people of us really like to share. Some people don't, and that's fine as well. But for some people who want to give back for the community as well, the last part comes to help there, which is sharing back for the community. You can contribute on those components. You can contribute on our documentation. You can provide and help other people to succeed as well. You don't have to. So if that's not part of your persona, that's fine. Just use the components as well. But you have the opportunity to do so if that's close to your heart. And that's where it all started. The sharing is caring is one of the slogans of PnP, because we actually want to make sure that you'll be successful in the job what you do. Now, a few things. So I'm going to go through all of those 3 sections. Obviously, we will spend the most time in the reuse section, because we have a lot of new cool stuff which you can take advantage, which will hopefully blow your mind. Well, not blow your mind, but you'll be like amazed on what we're actually showing. But let's start with the learn. So in the learn side, just making sure that people are aware of all of these assets what we have. So SharePoint Developer blog is available at AKMS SPDev blog. It is actually redirecting to the developer.microsoft.com/office/ I can't remember what the URL. For me, that's the easiest AKMS address to remember. This is where you can actually find all of the recordings, announcements, when we release a new version of SharePoint Framework. Dev Weekly is coming released over there, and all of the details, what are we actually doing as a SharePoint engineering or as part of the community work, what we do. So this is our primarily communication channel. The second big thing obviously is the SharePoint developer documentation. Still, people are not necessarily always finding this, so making sure that you're aware of it. We have plenty of documentation, modern documentation, which is step-by-step guiding you how to write SharePoint Framework, extensions and web parts, and if you're still doing feature framework stuff, which probably shouldn't, no offense, but there's guidance for that as well over there, and how to transition from the old models to the new model. There's plenty of stuff down there as well. And obviously, this is open source as well. So if you find a bug, if you don't agree something within the document, guess what? You can click an edit button, and you can suggest an edit. And if it's a valid edit, that's absolutely fine. We can actually merge that in on the documentation. On top of this, we have our YouTube channel, which has more than 350 videos already. This is videos which are walking through the tutorials, written tutorials, demos, community calls, training videos, and all of that stuff is available as a video. Because we do have quite a few community calls. We actually have one community call in every single week, which means that you can't always join all of them, which is completely understandable. But maybe you missed the cool demo. Maybe you want to go and check a new demo, which was apparently, let's say Mark D. Anderson tweet saying that it was a super cool demo. You want to go and check it out. It is available in the YouTube channel, and you can check it out from there. And then the final, but not definitely the least thing in the learning part, is our samples and solutions. So github.com/SharePoint. It's growing rapidly. We know that finding stuff in GitHub is relatively hard, so we're trying to figure out how to make this as easily usable for you in the future. But SharePoint Framework, extensions, solutions, web parts, reusable controls, components, you'll see some of these live today, is available for you to take advantage. It might be that you take them advantage as such, or you may take them advantage as a starting point for your own project. Everything is open source, everything is MIT licensed. You'll find some of these presentations somewhere. You don't have to ask permissions, just start using it in your own work. If it's beneficial for you, it's for you to take advantage. Really big thing. Now, let's move to the demo section. Woohoo! So reuse is more around how do we actually reuse those components. So now that we know what we can do and how do we build the stuff in SharePoint, what's available, and we are able to do stuff, we are able to build a web part. How do we then reuse controls? How do we use, what are the other stuff, what is available? And this is actually an interesting list of things, because I was trying to figure out how would I list all of the stuff, what is available for you? And the answer is it's really hard. How would we pick which of those things are the ones which we want to actually show you today? And it is really hard. The following list is actually showing all of the different things what we're running as a SharePoint PnP community initiative. There's a lot of stuff available. There's multiple frameworks for doing timer jobs in a cloud, scanner frameworks, modernization framework, reusable property controls, reusable React controls, PnP PowerShell, PnP provisioning engine. There's a massive amount of stuff, which quite often people know one piece or two pieces, but not all of them. So you might have missed something. So definitely want to have a look on what's available. As an example, in the Expo area, quite a few people came to the booth and saying, I'm using PnP. It's really cool. And it's like, OK, cool. So what kind of things in PnP are you using? Well, PnP PowerShell. OK, that's one part of the PnP, and awesome stuff from the PnP part. But there's a lot of other stuff which you can take advantage as well. Now, how many of you are using the PnP provisioning engine right now, or are aware of what it is? OK, half of the audience with the latter part of the question. So one of the things what we wanted to kind of pinpoint today, we're making new announcements on the PnP provisioning engine, and I'm going to show in practice what it actually means. So we're kind of adding new capabilities on the PnP provisioning engine in a tenant level. And let me show in practice what this means in my computer. So here we go. I'm going to flip here. Just double checking that screen sharing is working. Cool. So, and let me actually open up this in Visual Studio Code. And so there's quite a few people who understood what the PnP provisioning engine is. But in summary, before I actually show and deep dive and zoom in on these things, just to explain what it is, it gives you the capability of, first of all, extracting sites and configurations from sites. So you're able to basically save a site as a file. And then you're able to apply that site or the file to another tenant or to another site. So it basically extracts, for example, a modern page, and then you're able to apply the modern page to another site, which will make your life easier because you don't have to manually go click through every single click. You'd rather use the tooling which is available for you. And as part of the October release of PnP, which is coming in 2 weeks, we're releasing a tenant-level support for this. So in the past, the PnP provisioning engine actually was always about the fact that you're applying a template on an existing site, but you needed to create the site. But now the PnP engine, starting from October release, you can actually define tenant-level configurations and settings which will be applied to your tenant. What it means is that you can have a one PnP file, which actually defines that I will have 5 site collections. Those site collections will have will be created using 3 different site designs and site scripts. There will be SPPKG as solution customizations, which will be applied on a front page of those 3 site collections, and they will use following configurations and list and content types and all of that. And that basically means that you can now apply that one configuration to multiple tenants, and you get a consistent outcome across the tenants. So you don't have to manually, again, create the sites and create the and track drop the solutions in and all of that. So what we're adding here right now, starting from October, is capabilities of uploading the solution packages to the app catalog. We're able to create tenant-level themes, which are then available for taking advantage. You're able to create tenant-level site scripts using the PnP tooling, and site designs, which are also available. What's really cool also is that you're able to define the structure, what you want to actually get provisioned. So we're able to define that in this case, as an example, we will have 3 different site collections with a specific customizations created. And for those site collections, we are then applying a specific templates or specific designs, which are the configurations of the site. So this way, I will just use the PnP code or the PnP PowerShell, and I will just apply this template to my tenant, and voila, it's a repeatable process of getting exactly the same result in every single tenant. And that's pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to show the end result of this, so this is kind of a bending thing. We did this, I think, in SBC. How many of you were in SBC? SharePoint conference in spring? Quite a few. I think the end result will be slightly more cool this time, but let me actually show what I'm doing here. I explained that we use a PowerShell. We're applying that template to the tenant. So let me actually do that. I'm going to actually connect to the tenant first. So I'm reusing PnP PowerShell, connect PnP online. And then I need to connect, not return connection, connect to the tenant where I want to actually apply this. SPPnP.SharePoint.com is the root side of the tenant where I want to connect to. In my case, I've set certain credential automation, so I'm going to connect automatically there, so it's figuring out the connection to the tenant. As long as the internet connectivity is fine. There we go. And do I have a typo? SPPnP.SharePoint.com. How is that possible? Do I have a typo? No, I don't have a typo. It's interesting. IT, you always try twice, at least, before you give up. Exactly the same thing. I didn't modify anything. Slightly interesting. There we go. Now I'm connected. That was weird. Maybe there was a network connectivity issue. See, that proves the fact you can actually achieve better results even though you don't change anything. You repeat the same steps, and it worked. They're telling you that doesn't work, but that proved that it works. Now, so PnP PowerShell is just one of the components and reusable things that are available. In longer term, we are looking into combining SharePoint Online PowerShell and the PnP PowerShell, both being open sourced at some point, or combining to be whatever we want to call that, sooner or later. Now, not going to happen super soon, but there are certain things which we need to still figure out. But what it means now is that I can do get PnP site, and I'm basically connected to my tenant, or in this case, in that site collection. So I'm actually able to see the content of that site or a component, or get PnP list is a good example. It lists the lists within the site, and then I can modify the list and all of that. Pretty cool stuff. Now, in my case, I want to apply. So in this folder, I have a starter kit PnP. And that's one PnP file. And this is really cool. So sure, it is a relatively big file. It is a 17 meg. But I can basically send this file to you and say, apply this to your tenant. Because that one 70 megabyte file actually contains, it is a zip file. It contains all of the files, provisioning templates, XML definitions. And if I open up, for example, the files, you can see that it contains a lot of files which are inside of the template. So basically, I have a full-scale automation in tenant level to be able to create sites. And that's really cool. So I'm going to actually apply that. And just that I'm not taking making any typos, I'm going to copy this one. And let's actually update that slightly. Let me do this before I do that. So just that I'm not fooling, let's do the same thing what I've done in a few conferences. So what would be the prefix, what we want to actually use, so that we know that I'm actually creating those fly. Now my commander got confused, so let me do this and that. There we go, and we'll paste that one. So what would be the prefix, what we want to use, just to make sure that I'm not fooling? So it's not me faking that I'm creating those sites before. Give me 3-character prefix or 4 characters, whatever, random text. Foo, PnP is too obvious. Foo is pretty good. And we haven't met before, right? Or have we? No. So just making sure that it's a completely random selection. Now, I'm going to use the foo as an example. I never met this guy. Well, actually, I have quite a few times. But anyway. And I'm going to start applying the template. So that's going to now upload the solution inside of the zip file to the tenant. It's going to create the site collection. It's going to apply the themes. It's going to do other stuff there as well. But because it takes a while, let's get back on this demo after a few other demos. So let's actually move on the demos, and we'll get back on the end result in a second. Sounds good? Woohoo! Yeah, it's not that impressive yet, but it will be, hopefully. Okay, let me get back on the slides. Let's see, slide number, was it number 1? 5, okay. Thank you. Now, let's actually move on the demo. So that demo is now ongoing there. It's pretty cool, sounds pretty compelling, doesn't it? But let's see what was the end result when the demo is completed. Before we get there, let's do a quick summary of what we saw there. So the tenant level support for provisioning engine is coming, starting from October. We were debating with Erwin and Paolo, can we get it to the October release of PnP, but it seems to be most likely it's going to be in October. But it gives you the capability of having one file, defining what do you want to get created, and applying the templates and all of that stuff. Did I just promise that you guys will do that? Yeah, that's delegation, see? That's how it works. Now, but basically, site design, site script, themes are getting added on the tenant and everything else automatically. And that's really cool because you can automate your deployments using this model. Now, the next thing what we wanted to talk about is a reusable controls for SharePoint Framework solution. And to show this in practice, I'll invite Ilio on the stage. Ilio is from Avalo Intranet, and one of the MVPs closely involved on the PnP initiative. So let's actually jump on Ilio's computer and see the reusable SPFX controls in practice and how they will reduce the time needed for you to do development time for SharePoint Framework. So making you more productive for free. That sounds good, doesn't it?
So let's not actually jump on the...
Let's jump to your computer. It's black screen.
Yeah, indeed.
Nothing's wrong.
So let me...
You can visualize that in your head, right?
There you go.
Okay,
so if you try it 2 times, then it works.
There we go.
So we have 2 sets of reusable controls. So reusable controls is...
Sorry, just taking my coffee. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all about SharePoint Framework. So in SharePoint Framework, you can do amazing things. But what you quickly see is that you are going to do very similar things for every client or for every project, like creating property pane controls or creating components within your content zones of a web part. So what we thought of in PnP was creating a reusable set of controls that you can leverage within your project. So we created 2 sets. First of all, we have the controls React, which are React-based controls for the content zone of your web part. They are leveraging Office UI Fabric Office UI Fabric, very great library of already a predefined set of controls, but they don't have any knowledge about SharePoint. So they don't know how to interact with SharePoint. That logic, that's something you have to build yourself. So what we did, we make these controls a bit more better so that they can interact with SharePoint. Like, for instance, a people picker control. Now, we have a people picker control in Office UI Fabric, but doesn't know how to call SharePoint and retrieve all the users. No, now we have a people picker control that can call SharePoint and can retrieve all the users for you. So that way you don't have to do any API calls anymore. The only thing what you have to do is implement it within your web part and you're good to go. The next set is property pane controls, and property pane controls is everything that has to do with configuring your web part. So we have controls from list pickers, collection data is a really, really cool control that I'm going to quickly show you in a demo. And we have an order control, we have a number control, and also a people picker in there. So what we are actually going to do is we are going to create, or there's already a web part, but we are going to extend that web part with a couple of controls. So the web part I created is a search web part. So for people that know me, they know that I really like search. So that's why I built a search web part, very simple search web part. And the first thing you see here is a placeholder control. This is a control that you can use to, if you're building a web part and you want that your user needs to do some configuration first before he can actually use it, this is a control that you can use. You just give a couple of properties, what's the title, what's the description, and that button is automatically there. If you click on it, that's an action you can define. By default, it's just going to open the property pane. And in here, you can say, OK, this is your configuration. So let me just put in star, the most simple search query. And now I retrieved all my all my results in there. So next thing, what you can see is web part title. Web part title is a reusable control that we leveraged from a first-party solution. Every time you're going to use a first-party control from SharePoint, you already have a web part title at the top, which is changeable whenever your page is in edit mode. Like, for instance, here, really cool pages from MS Ignite. This is changeable if my page is in edit mode. If I'm going to go over to preview, I cannot change it anymore. This control works the same way as what you see in a first-party control. So you can just reuse this one so that there's consistency between your third-party controls and first-party controls. So let's edit this again, and let's go back over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going over to my code. And in my code, I'm going to add a collection data control. The collection data control is a control we recently added towards the property pane fields. And we saw that there was a need for recurring fields. Like, for instance, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to create an advanced filter and a sorting control, or a sorting option within my property pane. But if you're going to do some advanced searching, what you probably have to do is specify the managed property, specify what type of operation you want to do, and specify a value. If you want to create such a control, it's quite a lot of code you need to create. So we came up with sort of a list or collection data where you can easily add fields, and it's going to render a list set, and you just fill in all the things you need. And then it's automatically going to render it for you. So let me add one over here so that it can visualize it. So this is how you work with it. So it's property field collection data. You give it a name, a label, a panel header, and that's it. And in here, you specify the fields you need. So by default, we can say that it requires a title. Let's say that name is my title, and it requires also an ID, and then it requires a type. And we support currently Boolean, dropdown, Office UI, Fabric, icon, number, string, and a URL. So let me put a string in there. Let me save it. Let's wait until SharePoint Framework, the build process, has completed. Sorry for that, for the noise. Yeah, these bottles, they make a lot of noise when you drink from it. So let's refresh. And normally we should have a new button at the top, which is define advanced search filters. We only added one field, so this is just a normal string field. We can just add title in there, that's it. But you can extend it to your own needs. So now I'm really going to create that advanced filter option where I'm going to add some operators, some values, and stuff. So let me put in all the codes. And it requires a lot more fields, so that's why I first started with that small set. So what do we have over here? We have a name, we have a filter, so filter is contains, equals, starts with, all the basic operations what you can do in search. Then we have value, value is the value that you want to compare it with, and then an operator and an OR. So if we save this, then we have to wait again for the reload, and there you are. So now let's do a refresh again, and let's open up that property pane. Go network. So now we have a new set. This is a collection data, so now we can say, what's my name that I want to see, title, so all the pages that contain Ignite, and you can see, if I click on the plus, it's going to add it to the list, and it's going to store it. So I can also say file extension equals to ASPX. I just want to have pages. I click on add and save. I click on apply, and now I only see pages in there. So the next one is more amazing. So what we have here is a sorting option. So we can add sorting like that, but normally this is what you typically do if you want to do it very simple. Sorting in search works that you just provide a managed property name, and then if it's ascending or descending. So in here, in this control, you had to do it like this, you place it in here, and then you apply it. Wouldn't it be better that you have a UI to do that? Of course. That's also where you can leverage the property pane or the collection data control. So let's remove this text fields in here, and let's replace it with a collection data control. And the interesting part of this collection data, it's just the same thing as before, but with different fields. And you can also do some validation on it. So you can also do async validation, so checking if it's really a sortable managed property. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to call the API, checking if that field is sortable. If not, then it's coming back with an error message. And then we are going to say this field is not sortable, so it's reloaded. So let's reload this again in the web part. And by the way, Vesa, your script is done, so that worked. So now we have a manage sorting button at the bottom. And in here, we have two fields, name and the sorting order. So I can say last modified. And if I just wait, now you see that it's red. And if I click on this thingy, the information message is going to say that last modified is not sortable. So if I'm going to complete it and I'm going to say last modified time, now it becomes valid. So now I can also store it. So from the moment you do a typo or stuff, then it's not going to validate it. And now I can click add, click on apply, and now I have my sorting implemented. So collection data control, you can use it in very different ways. We also use it in the PnP starter kit. in the tiles web part. So this tiles web part, what you see over here, and let me resize my screen a bit. This is also using the collection data control. So it doesn't rely on search, or it has nothing to do with search. It can also be used for adding your content, like links and so on. So use it to your own needs, and then you can build amazing stuff with it. So that was my demo around reusable controls. So thank you very much.
Excellent. So thank you, Ilya, on that one. So really, really cool stuff. And like I said, that's just one of the controls what Ilya actually showed. So there is more than 10 controls in both sides, React controls and property pane controls. We didn't actually show, well, we showed some level of a property pane controls here. That's sortable. Well, we did show a property pane control, but there's content controls. There are more complex content controls as well available for you to take advantage. And like Ilya said, somebody might be again asking the question, wait a minute, so what is the difference between these comparing to the Office UI Fabric React controls? Office UI Fabric React controls, they are unaware of SharePoint. They don't know that you're actually using them in SharePoint. What we're doing here is adding additional abstraction layer, which is aware that you're working within the SharePoint. So as an example, taxonomy picker or a list picker or whatever, you don't have to implement those REST calls. It's all done for you. You'll just start using that as to start. So really increasing your productivity. Open source, it's in NPM. You can install that to your solutions, get started already today. Really cool stuff. Thank you, Ilya. Now, the second thing, or the third demo already, that sounds scary. Hopefully nothing too dramatical. So the next demo, what I wanted to do before we go back on the portal demo, is around tenant. The demo title is a tenant by deployable footer. But really, what this is all about is a blueprint solutions as one example solution, which you can take advantage as such actually already within your tenant. These blueprint solutions, and we'll have more in the future, are meant to be as an examples for partners to start making their own solutions, which they can sell to their customers, or customers to test out functionalities. Now, for many customers, enterprise customers, the fact that these are open source is absolutely a kind of a deal breaker. But that's where the good model comes, where you as a partner potentially can take that open source and ship that to your customer, and you'll provide the support, you'll provide the consulting on making that happen. Or if you need to adjust the code, you can adjust the code and then give it to your customer. But it's a starting point for you. It's really scary. Now, let's actually have a look on this one in practice. So I'll flip it back on my screen. So that seems to be cool. Let's not touch that one right away. Let's actually go to a slightly different location. And I'm going to show how to take a global, or how to make a global footer for modern SharePoint. So let's actually first start by creating we're in PnP site. Oh, now it's done. Cool. So let me go to SharePoint. I'm going to create a new site, and we can see that there's no global deployable controls, and I'm going to show how simple it is to take advantage of some of these blueprint solutions. So I'm going to create a communication site. Those are pretty cool. I'm going to create a showcase site, and let's call this Ignite 2018. Here we go, and let's create that. It's a modern site, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right about now. It's created, so pretty cool. Modern site creation is like that. So guys did an awesome job on that. But there's no customizations on this, right? And you might have hundreds of thousands of sites potentially done by your employees, or somebody's creating these sites. And you might have a requirement of having simple, small customizations. How do we make those happen? How do I deploy those customizations to my tenant? So we're starting this project more and more, or we will have more and more of these in the future. SPDev solutions. So let me I'm apparently using Google. Sorry for that. So going to the SPDev solutions, so repository. This is just one of the example solutions which is available. I'll go to the global footer. This is something what Waldeck Mastercard did based on our requirements and a design. But this is basically giving you a global consistent footer which is configurable. What does that mean? So let's have a look on that. So Let me go and download the solution packets from SharePoint folder, solution packets. There's the SPPKJ file. I'm going to actually download that to my computer. So I'm going to install that directly to this tenant. And it is as easy as this. So I'm going to actually open up this one, show in folder. Oh, I have a lot of stuff here, but I'm going to drag and drop that one to my app tenant. This is using tenant-wide deployment option. So basically, in my case, and key point to notice here, we're using tenant-wide deployment of SharePoint Framework solutions. So we actually have, by default, a warning or making sure that the administrator is aware what we're doing here. This package contains an extension which will be automatically enabled across sites. You can control the setting using the tenant-wide extension list at the application's app catalog site collection. So me as an administrator, I'm going to say, yes, this is a tenant scope deployment, deploy, and the solution is now available within my tenant. What's cool about this one, and this was something which was released as part of the SharePoint Framework 1.6, which reminded me the 1.7 release and all the new latest stuff in SPFX. There's a session at 4 p.m. With Pat and Luca, so you want to go there and have a look on that. Now, but in 1.6 we released the tenant-wide deployment option of the extensions. And what it means is that you have a one centralized location in your application catalog called tenant-wide deployment list. In my case, oh, I forgot about cleaning, so let me actually get rid of the one additional entry here. Here we go. So the tenant-wide deployment list, tenant-wide list gives you the capability of controlling how that extension is available within your tenant. So in our case, the SPPKJ file, the solution itself, contained instructions for SharePoint to deploy the extension and footer available the whole tenant. You can potentially filter that. You can target that based on a web template or a list template if you want. But in our case, we just created the site. And if everything goes well, let's actually close that one in there, the download thing. If I click refresh, we can actually see that we have a footer when the loading stops, and I'm going to zoom in a second. Come on, where we have a custom footer where we have 3 links, and we have a text called Contoso sharing is caring. Because that extension contained instructions to get this extension available across all of the sites within a tenant. So with a single centralized location, centralized way of controlling, you can now target your extensions across the tenant. That's part of SharePoint Framework. But the blueprint here, and this good example of a blueprint solution is that, well, if you're a customer and you're like, well, that seems fine and it would be cool to use this, but guess what? My name is not Contoso, so I need to adjust that. But the beauty of this example is that this actually is configurable. So I can go to tenant-wide extension list. We can see that configuration, which is slightly difficult maybe to control. So this is definitely an admin operation, not an end-user operation. But if I start looking at this JSON blob, I can actually see that that section says Contoso sharing is caring. So do I want to reconfigure this? Yes, let's do that. Let's call it litware. Sharing is caring. I'm not going to move that. And we could also change icons. So if I want to change the URLs or icons or add additional icons in the footer, I could easily do that as well. In my case, I just want to modify the statement. I'm going to click Save again in my app catalog in one location. And now, if I go back on the site, and if we click Refresh, magical things have happened. And if I scroll down, we can see that it's litware sharing is caring. Isn't that cool? Now, that's kind of demonstrating 2 big things. So first of all, the SharePoint Framework 1.6 contains the tenant-wide deployment support for extensions. Super cool, one centralized location, how you can configure and deploy stuff. And you're able to target, for example, for team sites, different extensions than communication sites. So you don't have to do extensions cross to tenant. That's absolutely possible. The second big thing here is that we are demonstrating the power of open source solutions. So this is an awesome example of a blueprint solution which we want people, our partners and customers to use as a starting point, as an example how the extensions can be built in a way that they're smart, they actually read the data, they are instance aware, and every single piece of code, first of all, it's really well explained what it is and how it actually works. There's a troubleshooting section here as well, and it is open source. So if you're a partner who needs to learn how to do this, you can just pull down the code. You can modify the code if you need to. If you're a customer, you can pull down the code and test it in your tenant. And, well, it's a cool-looking blueprint and example, which could be usable as such. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yes. Cool. I'm not going to go, brilliant, woohoo, hey! Now, I'm not going to go too detailed on the code itself, because that's not what this session is all about. We want to give you demos and show all the stuff what is available. But it's relatively simple extension. We have guidance available on how to build extensions, and then how do you take advantage of the tenant-wide deployment. Step-by-step guidance available. So let me go back on the slides and do a quick summary on this one, and we move on in our journey of different demos. But like said, these are reusable solutions for SharePoint Framework. This is a good example of that. That was the global footer, which is available. And you saw me actually download the solution from the GitHub and just put it in my tenant. To be fair, that's something what you not necessarily want to actually teach to your employees. Because what we just did, we just took a random file from internet and we deployed that to our tenant. Not necessarily, I think, what you want to teach for your tenant administrator. But again, if you're a tenant administrator, you have a test tenant or dev tenant, you can test stuff just by going to the right location, confirm that you're in a SharePoint organization and you know the source where the code is coming, and you're able to test how it actually works in your environment as well. That's pretty cool. Good. Now, moving on the demo side of the thing. So let's actually move to something slightly different. So not on a, let's say, a super, super fancy well, this is absolutely mind-blowing, but it's not fancy in a way that it's using necessarily modern SharePoint, but it is. Because we have a lot of tooling which will help the consultants and partners to also help their customers to move to the modern SharePoint experiences. So we have plenty of modernized tooling and guidance available if you have customers or if you are looking into moving your existing SharePoint Online site to the modern experiences of SharePoint. And I'll invite Paolo Pialorsi to do this demo and walk through what's possible using the tooling which is available for you already today.
Yes, thank you, Vesa. And let's switch to my machine, which is this one, hopefully. Yeah. So let's imagine that we have a classic team site created in SharePoint Online, and that we want to move this site to the modern experience for our end users. Here in this example, on a demo tenant, we have an Ignite 2018 team site, which has been created as a classic team site. And here you can see how it behaves right now. It is slightly customized with a custom theme, with some custom UI elements. For example, we have a footer created through an old school WSP package solution. Sorry about that, Vesa. Just to show you that you can migrate what you have in the classic mode into the modern experience. And we have some custom pages. For example, we have a page in which we show some first-party web parts. Let's get this one, for example, in which we have a text web part, we have an image, we have a list view web part to show a grouped list of races, bicycle races, and stuff like that. This is a classic site, which is a classic example of what most of us most likely have in their own tenants nowadays. And let's say that we want to change the end user experience of this classic site into the modern experience. So we want to groupify, we want to add an Office 365 group in the back end of this classic team site, and we want to move to the modern UI and the modern experience. Of course, one option that we could use is the one to just connect this site to a new Office 365 group. But this is not enough for us because, okay, it is really useful to have an Office 365 group connected to our team site, but we also want to upgrade the user experience, the pages, and all the first-party web parts that we have in this site. In order to do that, first of all, we can leverage some tools provided by the PnP project, which allow us to do an analysis of what we have to understand if what we have can be easily upgraded or updated to the modern experience, or if there are some challenges that we need to face. So let's start talking about the analysis tools, and then let's see how we can move the experience from classic to modern for that specific site. The first tool that we have is the SharePoint Modern User Experience Scanner tool, which you can find on GitHub. So it's an open source tool. You can have full access to the source code, or you can just play with it. It's up to you. This tool allows us to have an analysis of all the lists, libraries, and sites that we have to see if it is possible to migrate to the modern experience, or if there are some blocking issues in what we have right now in the classic model. Moreover, we have another tool, which is in the SharePoint Modernization Framework, which is the main topic of this demo, which will give us feedbacks about what we can do when we want to groupify, so we want to add or connect an Office 365 group to a classic site. So we will be able to see if we can do that, or if there are, again, blocking issues for doing that in a classic site, as well as information about the pages that we want to migrate from the classic to the modern experience. When you run these tools, you can get back a bunch of Excel files, which are really, really useful, in my opinion, because those files give you a dashboard of all the useful information to figure out if there are blocking issues or not, and what you should do to remove those blocking issues and in order to being able to upgrade or to move to the modern experience. So for example, here you can see that we have a list of what are the reasons why eventually we can't move to the modern UI. Here we can see what are the kind of list that we have in all of the sites that we have in our tenant. When we run these tools, we can target specific set collections, or we can do a full analysis of the full tenant. It will take a while, but we will get back a dashboard with all of the information about the whole tenant if we want, or as I said, just specific target set collections. Moreover, you can have reports about all of the sites, and you can see if there are any blocking issues moving to the connection to the Office 365 groups or not, and so on and so forth. Moreover, and it was just recently added to the list of reports, there is a report about the publishing portal sites, because right now these tools do not yet support the migration to the modern UI for publishing portals, but we started working on it, and we just added a few days ago a new report about this topic. So you run the analysis tools, you get a feedback, you see what you can do, you see if you are ready to move to the modern experience or not yet, and you can fix what has to be fixed in order to be ready to move to the new experience. Once you have done that, you can use the modernization framework, which is a library, again, and one more time, an open source library that you can find on GitHub. So you have full access to the source code, you can play with it, or you can just use it as a tool in your own development solutions. And for example, you can use it through a NuGet package. So you just install the NuGet package and you use it in your .NET custom solutions. This tool, this framework, allows you to do the upgrade or the migration of all of the sites and pages that you have in the classic experience to the modern one. Let me show you how. For example, here we have, in Visual Studio Code, a PowerShell script which will go through all of the content of my classic site, the one I showed you before, and will upgrade it to the modern experience and will connect it to an Office 365 group. I will not go into any single detail of this PowerShell script, but I just want to tell you that inside this PowerShell script, we simply load the modernization framework as a .NET assembly, and we use some of the .NET types that we have in the library. So if I run this PowerShell script, providing as an input argument the URL of this classic site, it will take a few minutes, but we can talk about what is happening under the cover in the meantime. But if I run this PowerShell script, and here we are, I will have, first of all, to provide the URL of the site that I want to modernize. Moreover, I have to provide a name for the Office 365 group that will be created and that will be connected to my new modern team site, because from a classic site we will move to the modern experience. So let's call it exactly like the name of the site I'm upgrading. So Ignite 2018 team site.
I can select if I want to create a public or a private Office 365 group, which will be connected to my site. Let's create a public one. And if I use site classification, I can even provide the classification label for my site so that I can adhere to my classification rules, which are defined in my tenant. Once I've done that, the PowerShell script will do a bunch of stuff on my classic site. First of all, if eventually needed, will upgrade my current user to be a site collection administrator of my site. Keep in mind that in order to do this kind of stuff, we need to use, for example, to run this PowerShell script, we need to use a SharePoint Online tenant admin user. But that does not imply that you will be a site collection administrator for the site that you are upgrading. So first of all, if you are not, you will temporarily become a site collection administrator for that site. Moreover, this script will remove any custom master page if applied to the site, because in the modern experience, we don't have any more master pages. It will remove any alternate CSS URL, if any, in the settings of our classic site. We'll go through all of the pages that we have in the classic site in order to modernize them. And to do that, first of all, it enables the modern pages feature on the site. And it disables, if it is eventually enabled, the modern list blocking feature, which is a feature that you can activate on a site to stack that site on the classic experience for lists. And once it has done that, it will go through all of the pages. It will convert the pages into modern pages. And one by one, for all the first-party web parts, there is a mapping file which maps every single first-party web part that we have in the classic model into a modern web part in the modern experience, in the client-side mode experience. And you have, out of the box in this framework, an XML mapping file which defines the mapping for all of the first-party web parts.
Oh, while the script is actually running, I need to have a question on that one. Said that there's a mapping file from a first-party web parts to the modern first-party web parts. What if there's a custom web parts being used, script-edited web parts being used on the classic pages?
That's a great question. Of course, you can support also custom or third-party web parts if you want. You can extend, you can customize the mapping XML file, and you can add mapping information in order to map third-party classic web parts into third-party modern client-side web parts. And moreover, whenever we upgrade the solution, and so the NuGet package, if you already installed the NuGet package with the default mapping file, let's say you update it to add your own third-party web parts, if you upgrade the NuGet package, we will not overwrite your mappings, but we will add a new file that you can use to compare what we changed for the first-party web part in order to merge it with your customization. So you will keep your stuff even if you will update the library eventually. So that's really powerful because we have, out of the box, full support for all of the first-party web part, which is already a lot for most of the customers. And if you have customization, you can do that.
And obviously, the follow-up obviously is there's certain web parts in the first party. On classic experiences, there's certain web parts which are not available in the modern experience. And that's actually a great opportunity for partners, because if there's a web part which the customer is using in a classic site, but it's not in the modern site, that might be a custom web part which you then map the classic web part, out-of-the-box web part, to that modern third-party web part, which you will then implement as part of the transition project.
For what cannot be migrated, the tool will simply write in the destination modern page the name of the web part just as a placeholder. But of course, if you create a modern web part, a client-side web part, in order to provide that functionality, you will find, once you will have updated the mapping file, you will find the new client-side web part in place, replacing the text. And taking quite long. Most likely the god of network is not helping because we are working here right now on my machine using the network, but we'll see. It's a matter of waiting. And in the meantime, we can also say that if you want to customize how the modernization framework works, there are plenty of stuff you can do. Let me show you in the meantime. There is full documentation about the modernization framework. Here you can see the entry point, which is aka.ms/sppnp-modernize. And going to this URL, you will have access to the documentation about the modernization framework. And for example, here in the modernization, in the transform, you can see that we support out of the box all of the layouts for web part pages and wiki pages. So when we do the modernization of pages, we already know how to map the old layout into the new one. But of course, you can customize this behavior as well, and you can write custom code that you can plug in into the framework in order to slightly change the out-of-the-box behavior. And looks like it's still working.
It's still working. So let's do this. Let's come back on that one, a few slides, and we'll come back on when it's actually completed. Fix it, Paolo. Fix it. Fix it.
I will not fix it.
So let me actually get back on the slides, because we're obviously conscious about the time as well. We'll get back on the result on the transition while that is getting completed. Now, just to summarize that one, so we do have a modernization framework available for SharePoint Online, and the address was AKMS SP PnP modernize, and that's redirecting the documentation what is available. So this is there if you're a partner, as an example, or a customer, to help you to make the transition as easy as possible, for making that really possible. And there's a lot of options around this one, but there's guidance, there's tooling, which is available for you to take advantage. Now, while we're waiting that transition to fully complete, let's actually move forward on the demo which we started the first time, because we don't want to miss a few things while we're doing that. Is that already completed?
Not yet.
Not
still
yet.
Working,
okay.
so
that's still working. So let's go to my computer, and that's on this one. And here we go. So you actually remember that we started the provisioning using the one SPPMP file against my tenant. And we selected, let's see, full as the location, as the prefix of the to be provisioned. And what it meant was that we actually created a site/full portal, because the site, the PnP file contained instructions to create a communication site with a certain customizations. And let me actually go to there, SPPMP was the tenant name, and let's paste in the URL. And crossing fingers that everything is correct on here. We'll redirect the page. We can actually see that we actually created a communication site, which looks like a modern portal. It's branded using the Contoso electronics. And if I scroll down, we can actually see that we have nice selection of out-of-the-box web parts, but also custom web parts which are available for you as well. But it's a really nice looking portal which you can take advantage when you're kind of trying to figure out what's possible in the modern experiences of SharePoint. And the whole system, what you're seeing right here, before I actually explain where to get this, you can actually see the one thing which because I didn't clean up. We still have the tenant-wide deployment footer here, and it's now getting deployed on the secondary custom footer, which is in this portal. So let me actually fix that. So I will go to this list. I'll show you that how easily this can be done. I'll actually delete the item. It's just super fast. There we go. And now if we go back on that portal, let's refresh. We can see that the extension is now gone from the portal. And we're only rendering that custom footer, which is available only within this portal, which gives you the capabilities of adding, for example, your personalized links and all of that. So cool stuff, which is available for anybody to take advantage. What's super cool about this one is that all of this, what you see here, is available for you to take advantage from a SharePoint GitHub. So if I go SP starter, start a Git. Right now in the master branch, we have a slightly older version, but in the dev branch, we need to still get few things available. In the dev branch, which is our working branch, we already have that one PnP file, which you can actually apply after October release of PnP PowerShell. You're able to apply to any tenant, and you'll get it available as snap of a finger. So we need to wait a few more days when the latest version of PnP PowerShell is available, so you can really easily then get the demo environment available for you to test it out in your environment. And there was already a set of people dropping by on our PnP booth and SPFX booth saying that was a brilliant thing, because for them, having this kind of a portal helped their management to understand what is possible in the modern experiences of SharePoint. So example content, example PowerPoints, and all of that will be automatically available. And behind of all of the links even, we actually added a page right now, which is just a page to show how things are moving. So you can kind of mimic that it would be a real-life portal for somebody to take advantage.
Here it's still working, but I really don't mind. I mean, we can just see the result in another site, if you don't mind, just to show you what is the output, to make it easier for us to proceed with the content. Number 8.
8, okay.
So this is still working. Most likely there are some network connection issues, but as I said, I can show you another migrated site. This is another site that I created just yesterday. Here you can see, first of all, we migrated the footer into a new custom footer built using SharePoint Framework extensions. So the modernization framework can be used also to upload SPPKG files using the ALM API, so that you can then make available new customizations using the new client-side model and the SharePoint framework. This is the home page, which is clearly a modern home page. You can keep the old one, so the classic one still converted. You can have, for example, custom field extensions using the SharePoint framework, injected using the modernization framework, as well as if we go to the pages, we can see the page Tour de France 2018, which got modernized using the new web parts instead of the old ones. So basically, you can modernize pages, you can modernize sites, you can create Office 365 groups connected to the classic site, and you have a really useful framework to analyze and then upgrade your classic experience to the modern one. That's it.
Now, just a quick coming back on the portal side.
Exactly.
So just quickly noting on that one. So I'm going to jump on my computer. So this is the SharePoint Starter Kit. And like I said, right now, this is something which is available already from a GitHub, so you can technically pull it down. There's a few different versions. There's the master one, there's the dev one. The only challenge what we're getting with this one is many customers were saying, well, that's a pretty cool setup, but I need to install stuff, I need to run PowerShell, I need to make stuff which is complex for my tenant. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to run a PnP PowerShell. That's a fair comment. So for that one, we actually wanted to then start thinking, how can we make it more easier for tenant administrators or our customers to take these kind of demo environments available. And this is something which is coming now relatively soon, so let's jump on Paulo's computer. Can you go to the front page of the portal?
Yeah, of course.
So this is something which is coming hopefully by end of this year. So we are slightly behind of the schedule, but to be honest, I'm way too transparent, by the way. Now,
okay. Sharing is caring, so.
Sharing is caring, yeah. So, but basically what we're looking to do is a simple open source solution where people can put open source content templates, where you can then go, as an example, the SharePoint Starter Kit. You can go here to this one portal, and can you show how it works in practice? So
this portal can be used to install a full solution, a full hierarchy of sites, site collections in your target tenant, and can be really useful whenever you have to provision a demo environment. So if you're a pre-sale or if you are not a fully IT guy, but you want to have an easy way to provision what we saw before with the starter kit or any other solution that is based on the provisioning engine.
So Paolo's story on that one, I used to work as a consultant for 8 years before I moved to the engineering, and every single week I had multiple pre-sales gigs, and the whole point was that I needed to go to the customers and do a quick demo on cool SharePoint stuff, and it's always painful to go and get the colors and get the logo and everything else and manually set it up and then be like, hey, this is all the cool stuff that you can do. Wouldn't it be really cool if you have a demo environment which you can provision and overwrite the images or overwrite the colors based on your requirement?
Yes, and we do, and we provide you two options basically. You can use this site as a tenant admin, so you will do provisioning of stuff which requires you to have a tenant admin account, or as you can see here, for example, this one, which is the starter kit, or you can do the provisioning of solutions which require you just to be a site collection owner, so a user which can behave as an owner of a site collection, and so you don't need to be a tenant admin. The starter kit, for example, is a solution that requires you to be a tenant admin because we need to provision artifacts at the taxonomy level and stuff like that. If you are interested in any of those packages, you can simply go through the descriptions, the categories, and all the stuff, and you can click Add to your tenant to install it in your tenant. As you can see here, I'm using a tenant in which I've never used this solution before, and that's why from Azure Active Directory, I have the request to grant the permissions for this application to use my tenant to provision stuff on my tenant, which is a common behavior whenever you install a new application in your own tenant. On the other side, in the other browser, I already have a tenant which granted that permission. And here I will go to install the SharePoint Starter Kit just to show you the user experience. So,
which we, by the way, need to still polish and modify and make it more pretty.
Yeah. As we said, it will come out most likely by the end of this year. So we still have a couple of months. Because he's my PM this time. I need to keep him calm. And OK, so you can provide a bunch of parameters. So if your template, if your .pnp file or your .xml file requires any custom parameter, you can provide those parameters using this interface, which is dynamic. And for example, we can provide the prefix as the one that we used before. We can use foo as before. We can say that the team name is foo Ignite 2018. And as you can see, we can create a custom color theme using a color palette. So let's say that I want to create a demo environment with the main green color and with the white text color, for white background color, sorry. I can create on the fly a provisioning with a custom theme which will brand my solution with that color. And once I will click the provision button, and as we say, the UI has to be improved, okay? But a background job will do the provisioning for you running on Azure, and will do all the magic for you in background. It will take a bunch of time. It depends on the complexity of the solution. But at the very end, you will have a full hierarchy of site collection and sites created and branded for you, ready to go, ready to make a demo to your customers or stuff like that. It is really powerful. And one last thing, we have a GitHub repo that we will make available. Actually, it is already available on GitHub, but it is still private right now. Through this repo, you will be able to submit your own packages if you want. So if you have a solution, if you want to showcase your solution, you can create your .pnp file, and whether it is one targeting the tenant level permission or the site level permission, you will make a pull request on GitHub, and you will make your solution available to the entire community. And we think that it's a great idea.
Cool. Is it a good idea?
Thank you.
So let me jump in here just to kind of do a summary on those two things. So obviously SharePoint Starter Kit, we have a new version available on the SharePoint Starter Kit. This is now, which was originally released in SharePoint conference in North America. It has been polished. It's now available, the latest version in a dev branch. We'll merge that to the master branch when we get all of our bits and pieces completely confirmed. Now, really cool stuff. This is anyway available today already in the master branch. It's slightly different looking what you're seeing in the picture, but that's the new version. Now, the second big thing what we went through was around the open source demo provisioning service, and this is planned to now come out by end of this year. It was a really early functionality what we were seeing, how it will work together, and how you can submit your own open source content templates on it as well. There's a lot of interest in Microsoft to provide you starting templates around this tooling. So we're all now figuring out how the process internally is working. For example, Fast Track wants to publish some of their templates in here, so you can easily do starting points for your tenants. Now, I'm going to jump the main section around the share, which was the last piece of thing. And I'm going to jump directly a few slides. So obviously, we have instructions how to get started on how to participate in PnP. There's a lot of companies who've been closely involved in the PnP within the last year. One of the reasons why companies and their employees will actually contribute is that the companies will get acknowledged. And quite often, actually, we get the feedback that the developers love the fact that they are allowed to contribute in open source. So it is a competitive edge for the companies to allow their employees to really contribute back for the community. Now, a lot of stuff, a lot of information, a lot of links and all of that. The easiest thing and easiest thing to remember is just the 3 pillars around learn, reuse, and share. aka MS-SPPMP. That's the one URL to remember, as simple as that. And one reminder, I will offer you all drinks tomorrow. Trust me, this is good. You don't want to walk away. I saw you. It's like, oh, drinks. What are you saying? Now, tomorrow at 3 p.m., before the actual party, we have a community SharePoint developer meetup. It's kind of a funny thing. I don't know kind of why, but we have a mule bar, so I'm going to offer you guys, everybody, a drink. So join us on 3 p.m. tomorrow. Right now, if you're interested in what's happening, SharePoint Framework latest and greatest is happening in 30 minutes. I can't remember which room. It's on that side of the conference center, all the way there. So you want to probably go there if you're interested on SharePoint Framework. But if nothing else, drinks tomorrow on me, right? Thank you.